Right now, Ed Herlicki is the chief meteorologist with the National Weather Service Forecast Office in Goodland. Ed, it was a long line of storms late Friday night and early Saturday. Let's talk about the tornadic storm, the tornado that hit Sharon Springs. What size was it? What did the Weather Service survey team see?
Sure, Curtis. Yes, the National Weather Service sent out a couple of teams on Saturday to assess various tornadoes or potential tornadoes, and one of them was down in Sharon Springs there. The team went out and saw and identified various points of damages that occurred across Sharon Springs. And what they determined was that the tornado was an EF1 tornado with winds of estimated around 110 miles per hour across Sharon Springs there. And basically went through and found various parts of damages ranging from trees to power lines. The worst of the damage was noted by kind of the KDOT station near Highway 40, where the cylinder block building was toppled and the truck shed was completely destroyed there. So it was went through and did an assessment on Saturday, and basically the winds were estimated at roughly around 110 miles per hour with that tornado.
All right, let's talk about the storm that was northeast of Seldon. What did the damage survey team see there, and what kind of tornado did we have?
Sure. Actually, I was on that team that went up to that event on Saturday, and what we found was we had some highway signs that were down. We also found where a railroad crossing gate was destroyed, and also there were some blown irrigation pivots that occurred, and we also found like a tree trunk that was snapped. So it was kind of a smaller area. Roughly that path length was about 2 to 3 miles, so it's 2.74 miles was roughly the estimated path length of that particular tornado. The tornado down in Sharon Springs was a little over 3 miles with that one. And this one, too, up in northeast of Seldon was also rated an EF1, roughly at around 93 miles per hour. So the winds were a little bit less than what was occurring at Sharon Springs.
There was quite a bit of hail damage reported, too, some pretty excessive large hail.
That is correct. There was quite a bit of hail throughout the region. Across the whole area, there was quite a bit of very large-sized hail. I'm going through here, and unfortunately, right now, the only injury that we heard of during all those storms that have occurred was actually due to the large hail, where somebody was hit in the head, I believe, when the large hailstorm came down. So, unfortunate, that was right now the only injury during all those storms, what occurred during that. But just near Leota, some of the largest hails where we had estimated of 2.75 inches, the size of hail there, just outside of Leota. So, and I believe that's right around where the injury occurred as well, in the Leota region. So, in that area, you can imagine having, hail bigger than golf balls, coming down, and you have to protect yourself when those occur.
Let's talk about the dangers of late-night severe thunderstorms and tornadoes. They're always the worst. People are sleeping, and severe thunderstorms are hard to see in person. You can track them on radar, but that person in the field, the severe weather spotters and law officers and trained individuals, they're really what we need.
That's correct. Nighttime severe weather is very hard. And that's why, we tell everybody to be prepared, especially with NOAA weather radio, to make sure that they get to be able to hear the warnings, take immediate action when these storms occur. For spotters, a lot of times at night, what they need is lots of lightning. When you can see the light illuminating, it makes it a little bit easier when you're out trying to assess things and try to provide information to where law enforcement or fire departments are relaying that information back to us. They need to be able to illuminate some of the storms so they can see it at night. And that's why there's, could potentially be some of the dangerous storms would be at nighttime, especially if you're not it's harder to see, and the people are sleeping like you stated before, and that's why we always try to tell people during the early spring to make sure that they have plans in place, make sure they have safety equipment, make sure they have like NOAA weather radio, things of that nature, where they can get the information that wakes them up and take shelter immediately.
I want to finish with one thing here. We've had plenty of high windstorms this year, more than we've had in many, many years. The areas short of rainfall, briefly, what's causing all this? Why aren't we getting the rain?
Yeah, this year we seem to be drier since last year and years past. One of the things that we're noticing sometimes is that the dry line is setting up further east of our area, and we're in the drier air. And so when the dry line is further east in our area or outside of our area, the thunderstorms will form along maybe the dry line and then move east. And so we get robbed of the potential of thunderstorm activity. And so, this particular year, there's been studies that have been done that, when we're dry and things like that, maybe the dry line will be further east, and then, thunderstorms and rain potentially could be further east, of the region. But again, this is just the beginning of our stormy season. So I'm sure that we'll be getting plenty more storms, started. Last year, for instance, our first tornadoes last year was on March 14th. So, severe weather occurred last year sooner than, tornadic storms occurred sooner last year than this year. So, again, our particular months are May, June, and July, and our busy season. And I suspect that we'll still be able to see more storms developing as we get underway into our active weather season.
Well, thanks for visiting with us, Ed Herlicki, the Chief Meteorologist at the National Weather Service Forecast Office in Goodland. We appreciate your team's work and all those that were out in the field reporting the severe storms. We appreciate that, and I'm sure we'll be talking more before the year is over.
Yeah, and thank you, Curtis, and appreciate you informing your listeners about the weather and staying safe.
Glad to do it. We'll be here. Thanks again, Ed.